Hello guys, welcome back. This is the next video of Databricks series. I am just continuing from where I left. Right in the earlier video, we went through the cluster creation, and it was just taking some time to create the cluster. As I said, it turns green when the cluster creation is completed. Right, what do we do next? We can create notebook, and if we don't have the data, then we cannot work into it. Right. So this video is about uploading data into Databricks. I am on the UI of Databricks, as you can see here. And if you go to this catalog menu, that's where we can upload the data. Let's click into the catalog tab. So here, you can see that there is data and there is databases. So you need to create a cluster to access tables. Right, for what is cluster? As I mentioned in my earlier video, if you go to the compute, then you can see the cluster. I have already started the cluster, so always remember, before working in Databricks, if you want to do something, you need to start the cluster. It takes some time, so it's a good idea to start the cluster and then start navigating into the Databricks. UI. Right. Let's go to the data part. So as you can see here now, it says default because it went through that cluster. The cluster is activated, right, or started, and then we can see there is the default, but we don't have any tables here. How do we create the tables, or how do we upload the data? If you go to this Create Table tab, let's click this. It will pop up this new UI. Let's just first go through the UI, and I will show you how you can upload the data from your local computer. You don't even need to upload. You can connect it into SO data source. If you hover on top of this question mark, it says it specified the data source you would like to read from most. Commonly, we see users uploading files into the Databricks. I said you before, if you upload something, whoever has access to this workspace can view all the data. Let me just upload the file. I will click this to browse. Now navigate to folder location where file is already available. If you want to download sample superstore file, you can find it on Kaggle. Now find sample superstore file. I can just say open. As you can see here, when we click this, it is uploading here. There are two options. One is create table with UI, and the next one is create table in notebook. I will show you quickly both of this. First, let's go with create table with UI. If I click this, it says here, okay, select a cluster to preview the table, right? I have already started the cluster. That's the reason I said, you please start the cluster and start it before you start doing something, right? I can choose here, our running cluster, and I can say preview, table. As you can see here, the table name is Superstore, or you can change as per your requirement. File type is CSV and column delimiter. I'm not providing here, but let's see if it is able to configure it by itself or not. So you need to provide this by looking at this preview table. Let's see what the preview table will be, and then we'll just click this if needed. As you can see here, this is the data, right? What is the another way? Let's say that you want to upload the data and start working in Notebook directly, right? Let's go through that. It is going to be uploaded. Now instead, as you can see here, it automatically knows that there is already a file. So it provided -1 over there. It didn't overwrite, but there is a new CSV, although the data is same, right? Instead of create table with UI, we are going to use create table in notebook. Let's click this. What happens? As you can see here, it created our notebook for us. As you can see, it says today's date. We can change the name of the notebook if we want. Notebook is created as a Python. Notebook it automatically creates in the Python. So it's default language Python. So we don't need to provide percentage. Python here and there is connect in order to run this. We need to attach the cluster. As I mentioned you before, go here and then choose the cluster. Now it is connected. You can run the notebook. So file location. The file location is sample superstore, one CSV file, and file type is CSV options here. It says first row is header is false because that is the default behavior, right? And as you can see here, it is using Spark to read the data spark.read.format file type option. There are many things we haven't dealt with. What is Spark or how to read data with Spark? But as you can see here, it automatically provides the code for us. You can just run Shift Enter and it will provide the data frame. And as we did in the previous section now, there is no header name, right? There is, but it is on the first row. We don't want that to be in the first row. For that, you can just go here and you need to provide these two true that the first row is the header shift. And now column headers are coming. Good. That is how you can just create the data frame. And it is using the display function to show you the data frame. There are many options why display the data in good format. And there are many ways how you can visualize the data. Also, I will go through that a little bit later, but now we uploaded the data and we see we created the table from the UI. Also, we read the data directly from the notebook. And if you scroll down here, it is saying here, create a view or table. It says temp table, name. It is providing the table name. And as you can see here, it is creating the table. If you want to change the table name, you can change the name. Also, let's run this. I said you before. Also, if you remember in notebooks, we can run the SQL commands also in the Python notebook, right? And now we can read that table because in SQL we did from the tables what we can do, %SQL and select all from sample, superstore, dataset. Now run this cell and it will provide us the data from table. There are many ways to do the same stuff. In the next cell, it says here, permanent table. Now what happens if we create the permanent table? Let me also give the same name here. I will show you this also, and we can write that in the Parquet format. Here is the permanent table name, sample superstore. What is DF? It is the Spark data frame, and we said Spark dot, write dot format. We want to make the format Parquet and save as table, permanent table, right? When we create the view, then if you go to the data tab, we just have this sample superstore set CSV, right? It is not saved here because view is when we want to work in the notebook itself. But if we want to save it, we need to make the permanent table. Okay, that's all for this video. Next video, I will explain you what is DBFS or how we can work with DBFS, Databricks file system. Please subscribe and thank you for watching. See you in the next video.